we've had our 2025 Chevrolet Equinox for a few months now, and throughout that time, whenever I'm on the highway, I can't help but feel like the efficiency numbers seem low. In fact, the entire lifetime efficiency of the car is somewhere around 3 to 3.1 miles per kilowatt hour. And compared to what Chevy and the EPA claim the Equinox EV is capable of, those numbers seem low to me. Now, one of the main culprits of that might be the fact that our model is a 2LT with the larger 21-inch wheels. So I reached out to Chevrolet and I said, hey, do you happen to have an Equinox EV with the 19-inch wheels? And they said, not only that, we have a base model. So this is actually the $35,000 version of the Chevy Equinox EV. It's got a rubber steering wheel, it's got manual cloth seats, no sunroof, no heated seats, but still this big screen. And most importantly, as we see when we hop out here, 19-inch wheels wrapped in Michelin Primacy all-season tires. Now, to me, 19 inches is still plenty of wheel on a car like this. I really don't want the 21s, but those were what came on the 2LT package that my wife, I'm not going to say insisted, but she very much preferred on her Equinox EV. Now, most manufacturers will publish different range figures for different trims of their vehicle. If you look at anything from a Tesla Model Y to a Hyundai Ioniq 5, anything like that, if they have different size wheels and different equipment that affects the range, they give a different range figure. But that isn't the case for the Equinox EV. Chevy only claims that this gets 319 miles of EPA mixed driving range in any trim, and then if you get the all-wheel drive model, that's a little bit lower. So today we're going to put that to the test. We have this $35,000 base Equinox EV with the 19-inch tires, and then we have Alyssa's 2LT with the 21s, and we're going to take them out on the Daily Motor fuel economy and range test. Now, for those of you unfamiliar with our test, we do all gasoline and electric vehicles at a steady state 70 mile per hour highway test for 100 miles to try to see what sort of real world efficiency you can expect here at real world highway speeds. Because the EPA's highway fuel economy test, and I'll have to check the actual numbers for this car. Do we have a window sticker in here? I don't think we do. Oh, no, we do actually. Let's see. So this claims to get 100 mpge on the highway, 109 in mixed, 117 in the city, because you're going slower and you got less air resistance. But this 100 mpge figure, that's calculated on a test that averages 48 miles per hour. There's more stopping and going and slowing down and speeding up. I think the maximum speed they reach on that test is 68. But we know there are plenty of people who need to hop on the highway and do big miles. Doesn't matter if it's an electric vehicle that is technically more efficient at lower speeds. You gotta get places. In fact, I just had a comment on one of my videos. I think it might have been the ID Buzz video. They said, well, you know, of course it's not going to be as efficient at 70 miles per hour. Go slower and you'll get more range. That's the thing, people. I got places to be. People in the real world who aren't range nuts, they got places to be. They're not going to buy an electric vehicle and then all of a sudden go 5, 10, or 15 miles per hour slower on the highway in order to stretch out their range. They got to go places. So I like testing at 70 miles per hour so that I can accurately know, okay, if I purchase this vehicle, how far am I realistically going to be able to go, or how much is it going to cost me? But in order to test these vehicles and compare how the 19-inch wheels do versus the 21-inch wheels, I am recruiting the help of my lovely wife, Alyssa. She's going to drive her car for the 100 miles. I'm going to drive this car. We're both going to go 70 miles per hour, technically 71, so that we can get about a 70 mile per hour average, because you always get slowed down a little bit with traffic and who knows what, on ramps, off ramps, etc. So we're going to travel 71 miles per hour. We're going to do the 50 miles out and 50 miles back. We're both going to leave the house with a full state of charge, and then we're going to head out and come back and fill the car, both cars, all the way back up with electrons when we're done. Now, a few other things to note. We're going to do the test tomorrow morning. I'll make note below here of the outside temperature. It's probably going to be about 60 to 65 degrees Fahrenheit. Our tire pressures are going to be set to their door placard. I'm going to go set both of the vehicles here now, and we'll check them before we leave. And climate control is going to be set at 73 degrees auto on both cars. So that might use a little bit of heat, might use a little bit of air conditioning if it's sunny, but it's going to be the same for both vehicles. We're trying to make the most replicatable test comparing apples to apples. So let's head back to the house real quick. We'll take a quick look at Alyssa's 2LT model. We'll take a look at those tires, get everything set, and get ready to head out for our drive. Here's Alyssa's 2LT model. It's tucked in the garage, getting all charged up. We are running Continental cross contact RXs on here, and it's a Chevy specific tire. This TPC spec tells me that. The Michelin probably is as well. All right, let's get these bad boys set and let's head out on the road. And here we are. We've got black Equinox EV 2LT and black's Equinox EV 1LT, I suppose. Base model, $35,000. 2LT, $48,000. Both charged up to 100% state of charge and with their tires filled to 42 PSI. This one showing us 322 miles of estimated range. Now, mind you, that's just kind of the general range meter. This isn't like our old Bolt EUV that showed us kind of a best case and worst case and average case scenario range figure. But we're going to get this one on and get the climate control set at 73 degrees auto. And we're going to have our Viafo dash cam giving us a little bit of time-lapse footage for this one. And I told Alyssa that she can use up to 1 level of seating heat if she'd like on this drive. Oh, before we go, let's also reset the trip meter. So for that, you do that in the screen here. I'm sorry for the beeping. I don't feel like closing the door. Vehicle status, trip. Let's reset trip 1. Done. Okay. And then we've got the base car right here. So we're going to hop in this one as well. Get our climate control set at 73 degrees auto. We see 100% state of charge and 334 miles of estimated range. Now, I don't know if the cars know something we don't, or if it's just that this one has been driven a little bit more efficiently. Let's reset trip 2 for this one. Okay, and we are about ready to roll out. Oh, let's get 73 auto going on here as well. Current outside temperature, 67 degrees Fahrenheit. Get our GPS reset here. This will give us our average speed as well as the total miles traveled. It'll be nice spending some meaningful time in the base Equinox EV. Because like I said, we've owned our 2LT for a few months now, and I mostly like it. I mean, it's got its quirks and qualms, but all things considered, it's a good car. But a lot of people are looking for this more basic model, and I mean, I don't have lumbar adjustment or anything like that, so am I still going to be comfortable, or what's the deal? Definitely feel the air conditioning running a bit right now. I don't think it's going to have to run too hard. Maybe if the sun comes out a little stronger, it'll have to work a bit. Now, if I remember correctly, the conversion for MPGe to miles per kilowatt hour is 33.7. So if we take that 100 MPGe figure divided by 33.7, super rough math off my head, should be giving us right around, rough rule of thumb, about 3 miles per kilowatt hour on the highway. And like I said, those certainly aren't the numbers that we've been seeing out of our 2LT Equinox EV. However, I did notice last night when setting the tire pressures that our tire pressures were pretty low in that car. They were at 36 PSI cold, so I had to bring them up quite a bit. Maybe that's going to improve our range once we, now that we have that set. Now, it should be noted, we're not trying to hypermile on this trip. We're not trying to get the best possible fuel economy. Like I said, I want to see what these cars will do cruising at 70 miles per hour. So in order to do that, I'm going to get up to highway speed here at a reasonable pace. We're going to set our cruise control to a GPS-indicated 71 miles per hour. That should allow us to average about 70 over the whole test. And it looks like our speedometer is actually quite accurate. Settling in, let's see, 71 on the dash. Seems to be giving us about, well, come on, I set it at 71. Let's get up to 71. No? Oh, I set it at 70. Let's see, okay. 71 on the dash, giving us, okay, about 70 on the GPS. We're going to get up to about 72. There we go, giving us 71 on the GPS. And we do seem to have the same active lane keeping on this model as on the 2LT. Let me see, does it kind of correct me if it goes, yep, well, a little bit of light correction there. Okay, so even though this one is, how much, $13,000 less than the one behind us, still getting a little bit of that active lane keeping. If we had paid a little more, we would have gotten the 3LT package and had Super Cruise on ours. That would be nice to have for this trip, but we ended up not getting Super Cruise on ours because we really don't do much highway driving with it. Highway noise still seems to be pretty good in this one, though. We're on a concrete section of highway, and I'm really not getting that much road noise with these Michelins. Okay, so it looks like we're gonna have to bounce back and forth between 71 and 72 miles per hour. That's not gonna be super convenient for Alyssa, but hopefully she's just got that adaptive cruise set, although the Civic seems to be interrupting that. But we're gonna settle in, continue on with the rest of the test, and catch up with you at the end. In the meantime, enjoy this time lapse of the entire trip. Coming into the end of our dual range test here with the Equinox 1LT and 2LT. Better than I expected from an efficiency standpoint. Let's just start off there. Right now we're looking at 3.2 miles per kilowatt hour. Now, I made the foolish mistake of thinking that we could actually complete a 70 mile per hour range test in the daylight here in California. So I was gonna run it yesterday on Saturday and delayed it because of traffic, so we had to run it today on Sunday, and guess what? We had traffic again. So when we first of all, we turned around early because I saw that traffic was backing up near our 50-mile turnaround point, so we turned around at about 44 miles, I believe. So the total test will be just under 90. And then as we were coming back, the traffic was built up pretty bad coming back as well. So when we got to the first big slowdown, we were at 3 miles per kilowatt hour. Now we're up to 3.2. So there's definitely a degree of drafting in there, and then a degree of lower average speed as well. Right now our average speed at 65 miles per hour. Typically we're at 70 miles per hour after a test like this. But I will retest this sometime with our personal Equinox EV to get a steady state number at night like we typically test for. But at least this test is giving us still an apples to apples between this base car and our 2LT. Also noticing that we have a vibration in the wheel on this one. That's actually fairly new. I hope everything's okay. We're gonna look at our tire pressures. Okay, we're still good there, so okay. So I am really curious what we're gonna be on the 2LT model, because this is actually beating the EPA figure. If you had 3.2 miles per kilowatt hour and multiplied that by the 85 kilowatt hour battery pack, you would be up around 300 miles of range. That is fantastic for a $35,000 car. Other than that, I actually am still pretty comfortable in here. The center console lid has a stitching that I could go without. My elbow is resting on it when I rest my elbow and hold the steering wheel like this, so that's unfortunate. Driver's door is a little far away, but at least nicely padded. But the seat's been comfortable and supportive. The seating position, steering wheel ergonomics is good. A fairly unobtrusive active lane keeping system, so I've actually been pretty happy with that as well. Adaptive cruise control is competent. It's not beeping at me. The sound system is just okay enough to jam out to your more basic music. So yeah, this actually is a pretty decent place to put on highway miles as well. So if you're buying this as a car to do big miles, you could do a lot worse for the price point. So we're gonna get both of the cars back to the house here. I'm gonna hop out and see what Alyssa's car is at for state of charge and efficiency. Right now this one's at 71%, so that is probably about what we're gonna be at once we get to the house. Might dip down to 70, over 88 miles. It's pretty good. Here we are, stopped at the house, and we're locked in at 3.2 miles per kilowatt hour and 71% state of charge after the 89 miles. And like I said, I'm decently happy with that. I know it wasn't exactly the 70 mile per hour steady state for the whole, and it wasn't even 100 miles, but it's gonna allow us to compare with that one. So let's hop out and see. We've got 232 miles on the guessometer. Let's check. Now Alyssa, usually down to be on daily motor, but this morning she elected not to be on camera, so she has left the car. Let's hop over and see what she got. Oh my gosh. Look at that. We still got we got 71 on the dash on this one as well. Okay, 71% state of charge. I'm up here in Alyssa spec. Okay, let's get the climate off. She's got 228 miles on the guessometer and 232 on the base car. That's virtually the same. Let's bring up the trip. Okay, now this is kind of interesting. The trip is 0.4 miles different. Now that just could be for like calibration. But look at this, 3.2 miles per kilowatt hour as well. And 71% state of charge, and like I said, virtually the same amount of range remaining. Okay, all right, I'm gonna have to eat my words a little bit, Chevy. I apologize that I doubted you, because it looks like these two cars are actually coming in just about the same, despite different wheels and the panoramic sunroof on this one and the roof rails. Wow. So what I'm gonna do, just to make sure, I'm gonna charge both of these vehicles back up to 100% using our level 2 charger in the house, and I'm gonna see exactly how much energy both of them take. But I'm actually really pleasantly surprised, because like I said, this is our personal vehicle, and I just had a feeling that it wasn't getting the efficiency it should. But maybe by pumping up the tires and yeah, just driving steady state, maybe it's okay to get the bigger wheels. So pretty cool. Let's get them charged up and wrap up our thoughts on the two cars. Here we are, all charged up with both of the Equinoxes, and yes, it would be Equinoxes and not Equini or anything like that, because in this case Equinox is a proper noun. But they are both charged up, and they took a remarkably similar amount of energy. The base car took 30.58 kilowatt hours to recharge, and the 2LT or second level convenience package took 31.1. Not only that, but the upper level car had 326 miles on its full range estimate, and the base car had 329. So again, virtually the same. And hey, this is why we do this sort of test. I'm actually really satisfied and happy with the result, because I was fully expecting to come in here and go, leave it up to Chevy to somehow find some loophole why they were able to do the EPA test with the 19-inch wheels and then try to just have the same figure for the 21-inch wheels and the roof rails and everything like that. But no, despite having the larger wheels, the different design, the sunroof, the roof rails, it doesn't matter. It seems that you'll get about the same range figure regardless of which trim Equinox EV you choose. Now, I suppose there could be an argument that the unsprung weight is going to be more on the one with the larger wheels, different rolling situation, so maybe stop and go, the base car would be slightly more efficient. To me, I care less about stop and go and city efficiency for EVs for two reasons. One, if I'm just driving around the city, it's a very slim chance I'm going to be putting on over 300 miles on the car, and I'm going to have to recharge it before I get to somewhere that's got level 2 charging. And two, because you're fighting less air resistance, you're going to be more efficient at those lower speeds anyway. So I'm much more expecting to meet or exceed the EPA ratings for range at lower speed driving. So for me, range is only an issue when it comes to higher speed highway driving, and that's why I'm so satisfied with this result. So like I said, when we do get the opportunity, we'll run Alyssa's Equinox EV on a standard nighttime, no traffic, highway range test, and we'll see what sort of numbers you can actually expect. Steady state, I'm assuming we'll be right around that 3 miles per kilowatt hour figure. But it was cool to compare these two in terms of efficiency and find that I guess Chevy was right. So thank you all so much for watching. If you do want to see the comparison between these two vehicles, check the link below. Right after this, I'm going to shoot a little comparison. We're going to take a look at the feature set on both, take them both for a little bit of a spin, and we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.